What if just 7 sentences could reshape your entire morning and gently steer the course of your day? Too often, we wake up not with peace, but with pressure. Our minds leap forward to our to-do lists, our worries, our unfinished business. But the Buddha taught us something powerful, that the mind is trainable, that even a small shift in the morning can ripple into deep calm by evening. In this reflection, I'll share with you 7 Buddhist-inspired morning affirmations, each one like a drop of stillness to start your day. They are simple, gentle, but quietly transformative. You are invited to try one each day for 7 mornings. Let it be your small ritual of return, your pause before the rush, your breath before the world begins again. Why 7 days? Because transformation does not need to be sudden, only sincere. In the Buddhist path, progress is not measured by leaps, but by steps taken with awareness. And 7 days offer just enough space to begin forming a rhythm. Like planting 7 seeds, 1 each morning, you give your heart time to water them with presence, and your mind space to soften. Each of the 7 affirmations you'll hear is crafted as a gentle companion for your day. And in 7 days, you may not change the world, but you may just begin to change how you move through it. So let us begin. Not to fix ourselves, but to return. 1 morning, 1 breath, 1 truth at a time. Before we begin the 7 affirmations, let me tell you a small story that carries a great truth. One that blooms each morning just as softly as the sun itself. This story, though seemingly simple, opens a door into the deeper rhythms of our inner world. It reminds us that what we meet each morning is not just a moment in time, but a moment to choose how we will relate to life itself. In a quiet Zen monastery nestled between hills draped in mist and the scent of pine, lived an old teacher named Master Nico. Each morning, before the sun warmed the stone paths and before the temple bell echoed across the valley, Master Nico would rise, wrap his robe, and walk slowly into the monastery garden. The apprentices often watched him from their windows, how he moved with the same grace each day, how his sandals whispered across the dew-covered earth, and how he always stopped at the same flower bed, bowing gently toward a single small blossom that had opened in the early light. One morning, a curious student named Kenji followed him. With respectful steps, he approached and asked, "Master, why do you stop here every day? It's the same flower. Why look at it again and again?" Master Nico turned toward the boy and smiled, his eyes soft with years of practice. "It is never the same flower," he said, "and I am never the same man. Every morning I come here not just to look, but to remember, to begin again." The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was filled with something vast and ancient. The petals of the flower moved gently in the breeze as if nodding in agreement. Kenji began to understand that this act was not about the flower itself. It was about presence, about seeing something, anything, as if for the first time. And in that seeing, returning to the root of being. It was about honoring the newness of life, even in what seemed familiar. The flower, in this story, is more than a flower. It is the first thought of the day, the first feeling, the first breath. It is your first opportunity to greet life freshly. And just like the blossom opens without rush, so too can your mind open, if you are gentle with it. Each morning is not a repetition. It is a new window, a fresh canvas, a moment unspoiled by the past. The Buddha once said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." The moment you wake up, you are already painting the landscape of your day. So what will you invite in? Anxiety or trust? Resistance or receptivity? The invitation is not to control the morning, but to meet it with care. Master Nico's ritual was not about admiring beauty. It was about recentering the heart. It was a sacred reminder to himself that awakening is not something that happens once. It happens every morning. It was about watering the mind with freshness instead of carrying the stale waters of yesterday's fears. The flower reminded him that today he could be tender. He could begin not from burden, but from breath. He could align not with pressure, but with peace. And that is what these 7 affirmations offer you. A way to water your inner garden. A way to pause under your own blossom each morning. Not to fix yourself, but to remember what you are before thought, before noise. A being alive, breathing, capable of love and wisdom. A mind that, like a flower, opens more easily under the sun of attention and care. Let us now enter the garden together. The flower waits, not to be admired, but to be noticed. And in your noticing, you too are made new. The morning is not just the beginning of the day, it is the beginning of you. Let us begin wisely. Now that we've entered the garden of this morning, softened by story, grounded in reflection, let us move with care into the practice itself. These 7 affirmations are not merely phrases to recite. They are invitations. Each one is a doorway into deeper awareness, a soft hand guiding you from the noise of the world back into the quiet of your breath. They are not meant to decorate your morning. They are meant to reshape it, gently, from the inside, like the slow unfolding of a lotus in the warmth of dawn. Today, I wake up with gratitude for this precious human life. The Buddha reminded us often of the rarity of human birth. He compared it to a blind turtle surfacing once every 100 years in a vast ocean, and by chance placing its head through a wooden yoke floating on the surface. So rare, he said, is the opportunity to be born as a human with the capacity to awaken. Gratitude is not naive. It is clarity. It is the wisdom of remembering that this moment, this breath, this day did not have to be. Gratitude opens the heart to life as it is and softens our grip on how we think it should be. When you begin your morning in reverence, even the light falling through the window becomes sacred. Even the steam rising from your tea, or the hush before the world wakes, becomes a celebration of being. I breathe in peace. I breathe out fear. The breath is the teacher the Buddha trusted most. Always with you, always available, it brings you home. Fear cannot survive long in the presence of gentle awareness. Each inhale is an arrival, each exhale a letting go. Before the world enters, before the mind races ahead, this simple affirmation reconnects you to your calmest center. Over time, the nervous system begins to trust you again, and with that trust comes resilience. With each breath, you build a refuge, and with each conscious exhale, you learn again how to release, not to deny what is difficult, but to make space around it, to soften its edges. I do not cling to what comes, nor resist what goes. In the garden of Zen, the petals fall whether we grasp them or not. This affirmation is a practice of non-attachment, not from apathy, but from deep trust. The river flows, the wind shifts, and clinging only tightens the heart. The lotus blooms not by trying to stop the current, but by rising through it. This is not resignation. It is wisdom. You are learning to ride the changing tides of life without being thrown off course. You are learning to bless the moment, even as it departs. You bow to both sunrise and sunset. You begin to recognize that impermanence is not a threat, but the very condition for beauty, for meaning, for renewal. I am not my thoughts. I observe them with compassion. Thoughts will visit you all day. Some will uplift, others will disturb, but none define you. This affirmation is a gentle reminder that the mind is a storyteller, but you are not bound to every tale it tells. Observing your thoughts with compassion allows you to soften the harsh inner commentary and reconnect with the spaciousness of awareness. You are not the storm. You are the sky it passes through. In the stillness of the early morning, you can practice this seeing, witnessing thoughts arise and fall like birds landing and leaving the branch of your mind. You greet them kindly, but you do not follow them into the sky. I vow to speak with kindness and listen with presence. Our words shape the landscape of our relationships. What we say can build bridges or walls. This vow is a sacred promise to use speech as a path of mindfulness. When we speak with kindness, we leave a trail of warmth behind us. When we listen deeply, we make space for healing. Bring attention to the tone you use, the pauses you offer, the presence you bring. In this way, your interactions become acts of peace. Your voice becomes a vehicle for compassion, and your ears an altar of true reception. You are not just speaking, you are weaving connection. You are not just hearing, you are witnessing someone's existence. Every moment is a new chance to begin again. One of the most beautiful truths in the Dharma is this: no matter how far we've wandered, we are never more than a breath away from return. This affirmation unhooks you from the weight of the past and the pressure of the future. It allows you to start fresh, not as an escape, but as an embrace. Begin again not because you are broken, but because life is continually offering you that grace. Let every inhale be your rebirth. Each morning is not a continuation. It is a new page. And even in the middle of a storm, this truth can shelter you. You are allowed to begin again. The bell of the present moment rings without judgment, only invitation. Peace is not found outside. It is a seed I water within. We often wait for the world to quiet before we allow ourselves to feel peace. But true peace begins where noise cannot reach. This affirmation reminds you that tranquility is an inner cultivation. It grows in the soil of your attention, your choices, your daily tending. Even amidst the chaos, you can return to the stillness within. You are not seeking calm. You are remembering it. Peace is not something to chase. It is something to nourish. And each time you choose compassion over anger, presence over distraction, breath over reaction, you are watering that seed. Over time, it becomes a garden you can return to at will. Use these affirmations not as commandments, but as companions. Speak them aloud if you can. Whisper them into the hush of morning. Write them where your eyes will meet them. Let them hang in the silence between thoughts. Let them guide your hands, your choices, your heart. And if one morning you forget them all, begin again. That too is the path. The practice is not perfection. The practice is presence, and presence begins wherever you are willing to return. Let your first thoughts be gentle. Let your first breath be steady. And let your heart, like a flower in Master Nico's garden, remember to open again and again and again. Let your affirmations be the soft light that filters through your window, illuminating not just your day, but your way of being. This is not just a routine, it is a way home. After these affirmations, I now invite you into the deeper temple of morning practice, the wisdom of movement and mindfulness. These are not just habits of health, but sacred rituals of return. They are the twin wings that lift the soul into the clarity of a new day. As the Buddha once wandered through forests and across quiet paths, he walked not merely to reach somewhere, but to become present with each step. every motion was a prayer, every breath an offering. Let us begin with the body. In the teachings of old, the body was not separate from the path. It was the path. When the body awakens, the spirit stirs, and the mind begins to untangle. Morning movement, even the subtlest sway of arms, the reaching of limbs, or a gentle stroll, acts like a temple bell ringing softly through the mist of sleep. It calls you back. As your blood stirs and breath deepens, your awareness expands. Muscles unfurl like petals opening to light. The weight of the night, of unprocessed dreams or restless thoughts, begins to dissolve. This is not just exercise, it is an invocation. It is how the soul re-enters the body with reverence and resolve. To move is to participate in the sacred rhythm of life. In both Taoist and Buddhist teachings, breath and movement channel vital energy, known as qi or prana. These ancient concepts remind us that aliveness flows through us, not only when we are still, but when we are in flow. The warrior within does not awaken through aggression, but through harmony. When you reach your arms upward to greet the sun, or slowly roll your shoulders with mindful breath, you declare, I am here, I am whole, I am ready. In these small acts, you restore the sacred covenant between your inner world and the world outside. Now we enter the second practice, guarding the gates of the mind. The first 10 minutes after waking are more than transition, they are transformation. These moments are the most fertile soil for awareness. Like monks tending their first morning incense, you too hold a flame, the chance to choose your first thought. That thought becomes the seed, and that seed becomes your day. What enters first will echo longest. So often we let the world rush in, notifications, headlines, obligations, before we've even met our own breath. But what if instead we chose stillness? The Dhammapada says, we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. These are not just poetic words, they are the blueprint of your becoming. So when you rise, do not race. Sit, feel the sheets. Place a hand on your chest. Sense the heartbeat that has carried you through the night. And from this still place, offer an intention. Today, I walk with presence. Or, may my heart be open, my mind clear. These are not just affirmations, they are compass points. With them, you navigate not only your day, but your life. And yes, sometimes you will forget. Your hand may reach for the phone, your mind may scroll before your breath settles. That is not failure. That is the signal to return. Return to breath. Return to self. In that return is the very heart of practice. So let morning become a sacred choreography. Move the body to stir the rivers of life, and still the mind to become its gentle guardian. This is not about control, it is about communion. With movement, you inhabit your form as a temple. With intention, you plant the Dharma in your day. Let this be your vow each morning, not to conquer the day, but to meet it. Not to master life, but to dance with it. Rise not into chaos, but into clarity. Begin not with reaction, but with reverence. For you are not simply waking up, you are waking inwards. And in this tender, mindful rising, the warrior in you smiles, not because there is battle ahead, but because peace has already begun. Following movement and mindfulness, I now invite you to another sacred act, writing. Not just with pen and ink, but with presence. Writing is a mirror, a lantern, a gate. In the morning, when the world is still hushed, and the self not yet swept into noise, writing becomes a doorway back to clarity. It helps you listen to what's inside before the day begins to speak too loudly. before the weight of tasks and expectations dulls the subtle voices within you. In the Buddhist tradition, mindfulness is not limited to sitting or breathing. It extends to every act done with full awareness. Writing, when approached this way, becomes a form of meditative inquiry. You are not just making lists. You are revealing the undercurrent of your mind. Each word becomes a footstep on the path of insight. You are not merely journaling. You are practicing compassionate self-exploration, turning inward with curiosity and tenderness. Start with simplicity. Take a few deep grounding breaths. Settle into stillness. Then ask gently, "What is moving in me right now?" Don't demand clarity. Don't seek perfect answers. Instead, let your pen become a river. Let it meander, circle, tumble. Allow your thoughts to flow without judgment, as if each sentence were a leaf released upon the water. This is the art of honest reflection. This is where the invisible becomes visible, where unspoken fears or longings can be seen with kind eyes and held without shame. The Buddha taught that right view arises from understanding. But how can we understand if we never pause to look deeply? Morning journaling is this sacred pause. By putting your thoughts on paper, you lessen their weight. What once felt like a storm inside now becomes gentle rain on the page, readable, shapeable, forgivable. It is a sacred act of self-care, not self-fixation. You are not trying to be better. You are learning to see more clearly. Next, set your intention. Rather than chasing everything, choose one clear flame to carry through the day. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that, if completed, would honor my deeper path today? This isn't about checking off a box. It's about aligning with your truest self. Your goal should not just be achievable, but meaningful. It is better to do one sacred thing with full presence than scatter your energy across 10 empty tasks. In this act, you simplify not just your schedule, but your soul. The Buddha once said, "Your work is to discover your work, and then with all your heart to give yourself to it." Let your morning writing include this question: what is today asking of me? And let the answer come not from pressure, but from peace. You may find that what calls to you is not a grand ambition, but a quiet kindness, a necessary rest, a conversation long overdue. Your purpose is not a task, it is a way of being. Then, bring in the heart. Before closing your journal, return to presence with gratitude. Not as a task, but as a soft light. List 3 things, not grand achievements, but gentle truths. The warmth of your tea, the birdsong outside your window, the way your breath anchors you, the memory of a kind word or a smile from a stranger. Gratitude anchors you in the real. It opens the eyes of the heart and nourishes a sense of enoughness. It reminds you that joy is not elsewhere. It is already here. In Zen, there is a saying, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." Journaling is like that. A simple act, but one that, if done with presence, transforms the entire texture of your day. You don't write to escape your life. You write to return to it, to bow to it, to remember your place within it. In this way, your journal becomes a field of truth, a place where awareness is sown and awakening takes root. And some days, the words may not come. That, too, is part of the practice. Sit anyway. Hold the pen. Offer the silence as your entry. You are not performing. You are meeting yourself. Even empty pages are sacred if touched with sincerity. So, may your pen be a tool of awakening. May your pages be a field of truth. And may your morning thoughts, written with compassion, become seeds of intention that flower quietly throughout the day. Let each entry be a gentle promise. I will not let the day carry me like a leaf in the wind. I will step into it with clarity, with kindness, with heart. Let this be your vow. I do not begin the day unconsciously. I begin with awareness, with ink, with breath, with heart. And now, as you step into the quiet unfolding of your morning, may each breath remind you that you are alive. Each moment remind you that you are free, and each word remind you that you are already whole. May the rising sun bless your steps with clarity, your thoughts with gentleness, and your heart with unwavering peace. Go into the day not to conquer it, but to meet it as it is, with presence, with purpose.